Buyers and sellers are coming back to the market. It's been an astounding week. There's a lot to say, and I'm excited to share the latest trends. Okay, it's been about 7 weeks now since the pandemic hit the housing market, and so we have a lot to talk about. So let's look at buyers and sellers today. I want to look at listings and pendings. I'll touch on prices, and then I have some closing tips. Okay, so this is Ryan with SacramentoAppraisalBlog.com. This will be about 15 minutes. I hope this will be helpful, that you get some value out of this. So I had a viral post on my Facebook page on Friday. It was shared 150 times, and I basically came out and said, Houston, we have a problem, and here it is. The rate of new pendings, or excuse me, the rate of pendings has begun to outpace the rate of new listings. And that's an issue because if there's more buyers getting into contract than new listings hitting the market, it makes things very competitive. And I'd noticed that over the past few weeks that this was a trend. And it's important to watch this and because it can really make a market be very competitive. And so my message to sellers was that, hey, look, if you feel safe and you feel comfortable, then you might want to consider listing your home because there's a lot of eyeballs on properties right now. And then this happened. One day later on my Facebook page, sellers listened. Now, they didn't listen to me, maybe some did, but sellers in large have been listening to their agents about market timing, and I think sellers responded to something that happened this week where we are still sheltering in place, but it's now legal for buyers to access properties. Now, there's very strict rules. You can't have a lot of buyers in there at one time, all that stuff. But sellers listened because on Friday we saw 221 brand new listings hit the market. It was the highest day of new listings all year long. So pretty funny to see that where, you know, um, early in the morning, 8 a.m. on Friday, I said, we've got an issue here. And then one day later, I'm saying, wow, look at the change in the market. And that's exactly why right now during the pandemic, I'm watching stats by the day because sometimes we get clues into what the market's doing. All right, so let's look real quickly at sellers and buyers and we'll jump into some numbers. So sellers have lost a little bit of power lately and buyers have gained a little bit of power lately. I think the tendency is to look at this and say, wow, there's been this huge transition of power and this huge exchange, but I would say that's actually not accurate. We can see objectively, there's some stats I could share to prove this, but buyers have gained a little bit, but it hasn't been this avalanche of power and where they can come to the market and offer anything. Okay, so sellers don't want to budge on price. They're very firm and stuck on prices right now, but buyers don't want to overpay. And so sellers, I would just say that make sure you're listening to the market. If the market is resisting your price, then just maybe respect where buyers are coming from because they might know a lot about price. Okay, sellers expect to get top dollar and buyers expect to find crazy low prices. I would say some buyers. Okay, there's this general perception, I think, that the market has changed. We're in a pandemic and prices must be screaming down, so I'm going to get the deal of a century, but that's actually not what's out there. And so some buyers expect that, but then they start to play the market and they go, oh, wow, it's really competitive. I have to bring my A game. I have to bring a strong offer, right? Otherwise, there's no way you're going to get a contract accepted. So sellers think that buyers are desperate, but buyers are picky and patient for the right house. It's very, very true. I would say that both groups are concerned about the future of the market, concerned about a housing bubble, and there's still uncertainty in the market. I like what my colleague Jonathan Miller says, that we're in a time of peak uncertainty. And I'd say in some senses, that statement from a month ago, it feels a little bit different right now because the market has it's trying to figure out normal and it's maybe normalizing or feeling like it's trying to get back to normal, but there's still uncertainty about the future with forbearance and unemployment, the job market, etc. Okay, I'd say that sellers, last but not least, they're paying less attention to the comps, and buyers are watching every single sale and listing. And so, the reason why buyers can spot an overpriced listing is because they're absolutely obsessed with new market data. Sellers aren't scouring the market like buyers are. And so that's why sellers are sometimes very often out of sync with buyers. So let's dive into the stats. Here's new listings by the week in the region. I'm having a hard time talking today. Yeah, but anyway, I just need to go for a run soon. But new listings in the region were increasing until about mid-March. There was a sharp decline. Okay, here was our sheltering in place. We really saw about the lowest week of new listings all year long, which is astounding to see happen in March. And so clearly sheltering in place had a dramatic effect on the market, all right, where sellers are going, wow, I should pull my property off and I'm not sure I want to list right now. It certainly wasn't the ideal time to do so. But then you can kind of see over a period of 4 weeks where sellers got a little bit more used to the market. Okay, so there's this uptick in listings until this past week. And so it's fascinating because this past week, the rules changed where buyers can access properties. And so it just shows that access to properties makes a huge difference in the market. However, it's not all about access because look, the trend started before we started to have access issues. Okay, access issues with sheltering in place was right here on the 20th. And so it just goes to show that I think the bigger narrative is more about hesitancy or feeling safe during a pandemic or feeling secure or just feeling uncertain. And when there's uncertainty, people tend to step back rather than step into. And so it's important to recognize, but here's a different way to look at listings. Instead of by the week where I just showed you, this is by the day. And so it looks crazy. Some people freak out over this graph. They think, I don't even get it. And that's completely fine. Not every visual is going to resonate with all of us. But the number of new listings, 221 on Friday, it you can see that it outpaced everything, that it basically usurped the trend of this graph, and it just shows that like it's the number one day all year long. But when you consider this whole week, not just the day, we're still down by 10%. And so this week compared to where we were, it's down by about 10%. I know it doesn't look that way when we're looking at a daily graph, but that's just a function of the daily graph. But the good news is that there are 646 new listings this past week. That was up almost 130 from the week before. And so that's good news, especially for buyers. And it's good to see sellers feeling a little bit more confident to play the market. All right, so I think the bigger narrative is that the number of listings is down by about 30% from where it was last year at the same time. And so last year we had over 900 new listings, and then this year we have 646. So we're definitely down, but if this continues, we would be going in the right direction of getting back to what would be normal. Here's daily pending contracts over the last 2 months or so, and you can see a sharp decline where it's amazing, a decline of 45% in 3 weeks. That's just unheard of. That doesn't happen. And so, but guess what happens when we have a pandemic and uncertainty? So, but then we've seen a rebound where the market has really seen a change as buyers have gotten used to the pandemic. And so I've been saying that for a week. It looks like buyers and sellers are getting used to it. And this past week saw it looks like slightly less than the previous week. However, this stat's going to be refreshed, and I do believe it'll eventually be more. It could easily be 530 to 540 pendings or so, because not all properties that are pending have been entered as a pending status yet. And so that'll happen. And so this graph will be more meaningful in the next few days as I refresh the stats. And here's a different way to look at it. You can kind of see pending growth at 12%, 10%, 17%. And this next week, it looks like it was a little bit more modest. And so what'll be interesting to watch is we've been seeing explosive growth, but if we start to see pendings taper off and then listings increase more dramatically, then buyers really are going to gain more power. Okay, but that's where the future hasn't happened yet, and we're going to get a taste of where demand is really at in the market. Specifically on Monday and Tuesday of this week, we're going to get to see if we have a chart topping week. This point right here, every week we see the height of new pending contracts on Monday or Tuesday. And so I'm very anxious to see what happened this weekend as there are more listings. Will that lead to more pendings? To be determined. Here's a number of holds in the Sacramento region. There's been 733 since March 12th. and there's been 697 canceled listings since March 12th. And when you add those up, there's been 1,430 canceled or hold listings since that date. And so that's an astounding number. And my sense is that, a lot of these properties or a lot of these owners had plans to sell before the pandemic hit, and they've put their plans on hold. Okay, some of them won't come back to the market because their job situation has changed or their life circumstances. But, a lot of these folks, I would guess, a lot of them on Friday probably were either previously listed or had plans in motion. Okay. Um, Here's a different way to look at the numbers week by week. I'm putting this chart out every week. I'll post it, in the next few days or so on social media, but you can look at listings, pending, canceled, hold, and sales. Okay. We need about another 5 or so days before we start publishing sales data for the week because there's probably about 100 more listing or sales that have not been entered as closed yet. And that'll start to happen on Monday as real estate offices get back in action. So weekly median prices. Let's look at prices and have some closing tips. So here's a weekly median price in 2020 in blue, in 2019 in red, and in 2018 in green. And you can see week by week it's all over the place. Honestly, in my real estate career, as I pull stats, I go month by month because there's so much more data, on a monthly basis, and so we get a better picture. It's a more credible picture of the numbers. Otherwise, if we're pulling week by week, look, we'd go, look, it's increasing, it's flat, it's declining, it's flat, it's increasing, and so it's like manic, It's like that couple, they're back together. No, they're broken up. They're back together. Okay, that got weird, but the idea is that in Sacramento County, when we look, it's all over the place, but when we look at March 2020 and April 2020 so far, the median price is at 400,000 for both months. I say so far because we need about another week in order to flesh out this data because about 10% of the listings in the market of the pendings, they haven't been entered as closed sales yet. It takes about a week. There's always this lag for the data. And so if we pull our data too soon, we can get, inaccurate numbers. And so I'd say preliminary stats show that prices were flat. And we'll see what prices show in about another week or so. Here's the median price in the region, okay, with four counties, Sac, Placer, Yolo, and El Dorado. And right now, preliminary data show that March 2020, the median price was 440,000, and then April 2020, it's 435,000. So it shows a 1% dip. However, we need another week or so because in about another week, what if that median price, ticks up to 440? Then we'll say the market as a whole is has been flat. But if it dips further, then we'll say, well, no, we're starting to see an effect in prices, right? And so, again, let's not make too much of weekly price data, even though I'm showing this to you, okay? But part of the value of me showing this is that it's so important to know how to think through the numbers and to be really careful when we report them, all right? So some closing thoughts. And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. I'm working hard for you guys. I hope you're getting something out of this. We need time to see the trend. We need days, we need weeks, we need months. And let's just continue to see how the market's moving. There's constantly new things that are coming to the market, new considerations. And so, of course, we would see changes. I'd say that rising pendings and listings don't guarantee the future. I think the temptation is to look at the market now and go, it's back or it's coming back. And we're seeing an increase in listings and an increase in pendings. But in a matter of weeks, I mean, we could be seeing something different depending on how the trend changes. And so this doesn't sort of crystallize in the trajectory of the market just because we're seeing what looks like we're getting back to normal. And on that note, I'll say we're not back to normal levels yet. When you look at the number of sales happening, when you look at the number of pendings and the number of listings, they're easily still down between 30 and 40% of where they were last year. All right. Housing supply is still anemic. Frankly, we need more listings on the market. Buyers have been hungry for them. And so sellers, if you're watching this, I would say as long as you feel safe, it's an opportune time to get your property on the market. Okay, really. I'm not getting anything out of telling you that. I would say fifthly, the market isn't the same for everyone. I think it's easy to judge a market and say it's all bad or it's all good, but the reality is that people have incentive to sell and buy, and depending on their life circumstances, and sometimes they're making different decisions that other people might, and it's just a reminder that the market isn't all just one thing or another. And so for my real estate friends, I just say identify who has incentive to buy and sell in this market, and then look ahead and to say who has incentive to buy and sell in the future after the pandemic is over. Okay, but the market really isn't the same. I'd say it's not just people wanting to cash out. I had a conversation the other day with someone who said, "Hey, there were 221 listings. Is this a sign that, sellers have begun to want to cash out of the market?" And I'd say that there's certainly sellers who are in that category. Absolutely. I mean, how could there not be? We've had 8 years of price growth in the Sacramento region. There's certainly people who are eyeing the market going, yeah, I want to sell now, right? But keep in mind, there are 1,400 properties that went off the market over the past 7 weeks. That's an astounding number, okay? And so it just shows that there's been a lot of people who have had plans to sell in motion, and my guess is that they'll be coming back to the market as they feel safe, and now that the rules are relaxed, right? More price range data coming soon. I'm going to start pulling monthly data. And so in 2 weeks or maybe about 10 days or so, I'll have my monthly market update out to recap what happened in April. And so I'm really excited about that. But I'm going to, like I normally do, I share what inventory levels are like at different price ranges. And so I'll show you inventory above a million and below 400,000 and what's happening with days on market in each price range. And so hopefully I'll have some other cool stats to share that I've never shared before too. So I'll say thanks for giving credit. I really appreciate it. I'm working hard on my content, and I have noticed a couple times lately there were a couple posts that sort of cut and paste my words verbatim, and I just say, look, I mean, if I share something, just please give credit where it's due. I will always do that for you. I will always respect your original content and your thoughts, and if we could have that same relationship, that would be cool. Just say lastly, be safe out there. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Thanks again, guys, for being here. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments, and let's keep watching the market.